was the control. Leon handles like a champion. Prior to 4, your control and aiming changed direction based on what part of a room you were in, which sounds like a fucking nightmare because it is. So screw that. Everything you need to see is right in front of you, and you can even tilt the camera for a greater field of view. Until 7, Resident Evil continued the third-person view because it worked so well the first time around. It added a level of combat and puzzle solving that wasn't there before. But let's switch gears. You want to talk visuals, graphics, cutscenes, blast processing?
The Sega Genesis has blast processing.
My man, take one look at Luis Serra. I don't care how straight you are, this man is gorgeous. Most titles look like wet barf after a few years, so you either need Picasso or Da Vinci working at your studio to make your art style look timeless. Show me any game released the same year or before Resident Evil 4, it don't matter. This takes the cake. Or should I say, clog us. In-game models are used in every cutscene, so there's one consistent art style. From the dusky forest of the village to the cold... Either need Picasso or Da Vinci working at your studio to make your art style look timeless. Show me any game released the same year or before Resident Evil 4, it don't matter. This takes the cake. Or should I say, clog us. In-game models are used in every cutscene, so there's one consistent art style. From the dusky forest of the village to the cold gray walls of Salazar's castle, the industrial island complex, the amount of detail packed into each area is impressive. Yeah, this is the HD version you're seeing, but still, animation, body movement may not be as realistic as some games today, but my God, watching Leon suplex a dude or roundhouse kick a guy's head off, can you tell me it doesn't look satisfying?
Tu as failli n'arriver trop tard. L'enfant sera sacrifié. Une vie pour une vie.
But unlike Oblivion, Resident Evil 4 doesn't leave me partially blind these days. The point I'm trying to make is RE4 doesn't feel or look like a game from 2005. It was way ahead of its time in the visuals and even more so the cutscenes. Capcom went the extra mile by using motion capture for all the movements of the characters. Luckily, it turned out a little better than the Donkey Kong TV show. Right from the start, we see the benefits of mocap. Leon asks the man a question. Excuse me, sir? Gets no reply, waits a bit, and then does this little shrug. He's just like, okay. It's a very minor detail, but this kind of thing makes playing Resident Evil 4 feel like a movie. Characters' motions are so fluid and natural, it's a total contrast to the robotic, stiff animations from before. This graphical fidelity adds a layer of person to the movie. Characters' motions are so fluid and natural, it's a total contrast to the robotic, stiff animations from before. This graphical fidelity adds a layer of personality to the characters that just wasn't possible before.
I've been expecting you, Griffin.
No thanks, bro. I mean, there's no better example than the knife fight with Krauser. The little differences in how they attack and hit illustrate this style of fighting. Right down to the way Leon and Jack land on their feet. They look fast at the same time, indicating they're of the same skill level, but have different styles. God, I love video games. Even during gameplay, Leon's moves are so crisp. Look at that cartwheel. Run it back one more time. Ooh, no wonder he's pissed. Bro, check out this running spin sidekick. Difficult move to pull off. A normal man would have flown back 10 feet. Leon should have been in the Olympics.
¿Y por qué lo voy a meter? ¿Yo cómo estoy?
Motion capture on its own wasn't enough for Capcom.
Of course, when we do motion capture, that only records body movements, not the face. So what we did was take the dialogue we recorded in America and have each animator animate the facial expressions by hand for each scene. And I think we've been able to achieve some great results. Goddamn.
Llamo, ¿por qué lo sacaste?
Insane 2005, and it's crazy that they even pulled this off. When Leon and Ashley meet Sadler, these crossbow dudes burst in, and for 2 seconds it cuts to Sadler with a shit-eating smirk on his face. I mean, just look at how Salazar's expression changes in this scene. Pain, joy, anger, confusion, frustration, irritation. Video games had to heavily rely on voice acting to get across how a character was feeling because graphics couldn't portray their emotional emotions. Like one of those undead all of that. Okay. So we get this. You got her involved just for that? Instead of this. I'll kill you! These animations are so good, they outclass some games released over a decade later. I hope you understand that Resident Evil 4 didn't just revolutionize horror in third-person games. It completely changed video game cinematics. As if the story couldn't be any more visually impressive, check out this cinematography, the camera angles and shots. In the opening house, a shadow covers the window, and through a gap we see Leon walking towards the house. It sets an ominous tone and establishes the rural atmosphere. Trapdoor scene, Salazar pushes a button, candlelight flickers, the camera follows him, then it's grapple hook, cut to a wide aerial shot, panning slowly, cut back to the grapple hook, bam, there's our hero, badass one-liner. That is perfection. They even have some alien free camera angles, switching to the view of a monster as the Verdugo pursues Leon. Now what do you see in this shot? The knife, right? Visually impressive. The scene's hidden purpose is to show you Jake Krauser's pretty good with a knife, but it does so without anyone stopping to say that, so the dialogue can be focused elsewhere.
You know, I met Wesker long before you.
We'll see soon enough if you did.
When I say every scene should be doing at least one thing at once. When Leon is ambushed, he narrowly dodges a lethal blow. Cut to the knife with blood dripping down it. Zoom out.
Been a long time, comrade. Perfection. Krauser.
Resident Evil 4 was shot like it's a horror movie and an action thriller. The scary parts are slower, panning up to reveal the U3. The action is fast-paced, quick shots, camera follows the subject. It's so engaging you forget it's a video game until, oh shit! This is one of the rare times I'll say I love the inclusion of QuickTime events. It's the developer's way of saying, yo, pay attention, dumbass, we worked hard on this. Whoa, 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 easy, easy. And I'm a fucking god at this game. It really, thriller. The scary parts are slower, panning up to reveal the U3. The action is fast-paced, quick shots, camera follows the subject. It's so engaging you forget it's a video game until, oh shit! This is one of the rare times I'll say I love the inclusion of QuickTime events. It's the developer's way of saying, yo, pay attention, dumbass, we worked hard on this. Whoa, 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 easy, easy. I'm a fucking god. It really shows games like Village and Cyberpunk and why being stuck in first person the whole time isn't a good idea unless you're Bioshock or Half-Life. Because the interesting stuff needs to happen in front of the camera. Gameplay. Would you believe Resident Evil 4 has been ported to more platforms than Skyrim? So what's the best way to play it? All of them? I will say the Wii motion controls are pretty fun, especially in Mercenaries. Otherwise, just play it on newer hardware. Or use the chainsaw controller. I'm sure that works well. Talk about ports. What about cover art, man? I have never seen one game with so many different covers. Anyways, Resident Evil 4's gunplay completely annihilates the shooting from previous games. Leon feels like a true secret agent, always running with his weapon ready, just like the front cover. It's so satisfying to pop a dude's head off with a sniper, chuck a nade into a big group and watch them fly away. Like Call of Duty, every weapon has a red dot sight, so you know exactly where your bullets will go and what they'll hit. When you're aiming, your field of view is narrowed, but you can't move and shoot at the same time. So it creates this dynamic gameplay loop of when do you run and reposition and when do you shoot. It's hectic as fuck. What's really cool about the aiming is your red dot sight comes out at an angle. Lining it up takes some practice, and it makes aiming kind of challenging. You know how Dead Space took the idea of shooting limbs and turned that into an entire game? Have you ever wondered where they got that idea? Super Monkey Ball. Depending on where you shoot the Ganados, Leon gets unique attacks if he's close. See a dude trying to yeet an axe your way? Bam. Not today. Bunch of ganados rushing you, shoot one in the head, kick them all away. Some asshole throwing dynamite?
Hostile away.
You're not just pumping lead into everything that moves. You can play like that, but it's way smarter to pace your shots. Unless Shrek's older brother shows up, then just unload on his ass. Horror games need to be difficult. If you don't respect the stuff that's trying to kill you, then it's not scary. Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite features in any video game. Optional death scenes. Now what the hell even is that? Well, should your health be depleted in one of these QuickTime events, you'll be treated with a gruesome display. Leon can be killed in like 60 unique ways. He gets his legs chopped off, can be impaled, giant bug pours acid down his face, you see his skull. If you're an evil human being and shoot Louis Serra too many times, he's like,
Adios, Leon.
L'esprit de votre fille est toujours intact. Ces pouvoirs sont vraiment uniques.
A little rough, don't you think?
if you shoot the lake 6 times, this happens.
Mais c'est vrai qu'il y a des défauts.
I mean, Jesus, this game is brutal. And you might think these gruesome death scenes are here just for flavor and seasoning, but by seeing this brutality, the player once again gets a very real taste of what they're up against. While at times Resident Evil 4 is a little tough, don't you think? The game adjusts the difficulty behind the scenes. Like the director in Left 4 Dead, if you're struggling getting hit up, go too often. Then the game might ease back on the throttle. Ganados will rush you less often. They're not as accurate when throwing weapons. If you're low on healing items, sometimes enemies drop first aid spray. If you die enough in the infamous water room, for example, the game will actually despawn the crossbow guys in the back. But if you're kicking the game's ass, as I often do, it'll do the opposite. After playing countless first-person shooters, the camera might feel limiting, but pretty much every attack has a noticeable wind-up. Ah, but what if you can't see the enemy? Well, my friend, allow me to introduce you to Captain Sound Design.
Vous avez assez de puissance de feu. Si vous voulez, je peux encore améliorer vos armes.
Same sound effects over and over again.
C'est un investissement.
But if you ever think it's annoying, just know this makes the game better because your brain becomes hardwired to listen for that. And in a fraction of a second, you know, danger, I should move. Sound design also comes into play before you even start shooting Ganados. You know those chilling murder chants from the cultists? They sound spooky, but also let you know, hey, there's enemies here. You can hardly ever blame the game for your lack of skill because you're given plenty of warnings. Leon's limping when he's at low health. If an enemy's out of view, Ashley and Leon turn their heads. This helps players locate enemies without sacrificing the perspective or fear factor. In fact, it makes it scarier. Down to the smallest of details, Resident Evil 4 does not slack. The developers basically eliminated anything that would have had players yelling, "Bullshit. What a load of fucking bullshit. How did they fuck this up so bad?" Part of what makes the game so hard is the amount of time you're invulnerable after getting hit. Most enemies have a short attack cooldown, especially on professional. You can even get comboed to death by some of the bosses. This one time I got hit, paused the game to switch weapons, and dead. If you do run up against a tough boss, you have a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Use this!
But even this freebie comes at a cost of 30,000 pesetas in inventory space that could be used for more items. Speaking of, even the freaking inventory is interesting. Collecting and combining treasures to sell, managing the space in your case. This is the only thing that's nice and clean in my life. You see, there are workarounds to the difficulty, and that's being thorough. The game encourages you to explore and get the most money to upgrade your gear. Increasing your health, it adds something to look forward to. But who on earth is supplying Leon with all these goodies?
Got something that might interest you.
And can we just talk about the Merchant, aka the best character in all of video games? This dude is so iconic, even people who haven't played Resident Evil 4 know who he is. Seeing those blue flames is so comforting. These were the original bonfires. Difficulty and horror go hand in hand. And Resident Evil 4 maintains a perfect balance. Let's head back to the story. In our quest to find Ashley and figure out
What is going on around here?
Leon finds a shaking dresser. Inside is none other than Luis Serra. Now this man knows where the library is.
I have only one very important question. You got a smoke?
Got gum.
We get a little banter between the two hombres until it's interrupted by,
The big cheese. What?
"Aw, shit. Get him, Leon. I'm lactose intolerant." While unconscious, Leon is injected with a lethal dose of grape juice.
Soon, you will become unable to resist.
Who are you talking to? You know he's unconscious, right? Anyways, this is a cool transition. Leon and Louis are chained together.
Crawl out of one hole and into another.
The two have a long conversation, and we get to know our characters better as they both connect on what it was like being a police officer. However, when Leon mentions he was involved in Raccoon City, Louis takes a sudden interest and says,
That is the incident with the viral outbreak, right? I think I might have seen a sample of the virus in a lab at the department.
before he can elaborate, dude busts in with an axe. Of course, he's no match for our hero. What's brilliant about this scene is Louis drops the fact that he works in a lab and knows about zombie viruses. Why does this random guy in Spain know about what happened in Raccoon City? But X-Guy comes in so fast after Louis says this, you don't have time to process all the questions you're supposed to have. Later on, we learn Louis helped infect the populace of the village, so it's a nice bit of foreshadowing.
While you eat makes me feel better. Let's just leave it at that.
He confirms the president's daughter is in the church, so that's where we're headed. One minor complaint is that Sadler chose to infect Leon instead of killing him, and didn't infect Louis, so it makes no sense why this guy would show up to kill them. I guess it's to have Leon and Louis go there. Leon has another run-in with the chief, Torres Mendez.
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
But Leon is spared again because he's carrying the same blood. But in the next scene, the chief attacks him again? What? I thought we had the same blood, bro.
Looks like there's been a change of plans.
It's always confused the hell out of me for the same reasons as the axe guy. However, there's yet another twist. A third party? Ooh, the plot thickens. Nice touch how they avoid showing this lady's face, whoever she might be. As we head across the lake, there's an epic fight against the Del Lago. Leon has some nightmares. It's established this virus is a ticking time bomb. On our way back to the church, we have a showdown with Shrek 2. And I think it's time we discuss the enemies. Hey, but you know, I think I got the hang of fighting the regular.
What the fuck is that? What the?
Oh my, these things hit like a truck. Sakurai nerfed this. RE4 is dynamic because it's so unpredictable. Sometimes your first shot can decapitate a ganado, other times a plaga sprouts from it. It's random. The small amount of sway on your weapon can have a huge impact on your accuracy. This game could have easily used the villager ganados as the main enemy from start to finish and just buffed their damage and health. But instead, we have three completely different sets of enemies. The villagers attack you with farming equipment, while the cultists have medieval weaponry, and the island dudes are packing military hardware. It makes each area feel radically different. The ganados reflect the location you're fighting them in. There's so many terrifying enemies in this game. Oh, the regenerators. I don't want to talk about them. Why are you breathing like that? Stop it! Those armored knights, giant invisible bugs. Some assholes are shooting flaming rocks at you. This game is ridiculous. And then you got mini bosses like the Garrador, which force you to move slowly and use the environment or be chopped into pieces. Resident Evil 4 constantly shows enemy types, bosses, and cool set pieces at you. So the combat is always as fresh as that grip Leon wears. Even if you're shooting at the same enemies, the environment's always got some kind of gimmick to make it different. But what RE4 is really good at is surprising you. So often you walk into an empty room and it's like, all right, nothing going on here. Oh, let's play Raid Shadow Legends. It's what I like to call surprise encounters. Like when you go into the hedge maze and you can hear the rabid barking of the mutant dogs. They're waiting to attack you, you just don't know when. Stop that! Walking along this bridge and then... Yep, I'm in a gangbang again. Anytime you pick up a key item and hear this, usually means some shit is about to go down. Oh, yup, there's the whole squad. It's brilliant game design because nothing is as it seems. And by ganking the player so often, it makes them always on the lookout for trouble, even in the quiet moments. Combined with the difficulty, slow movement of enemies, Resident Evil 4 can be mastered through trial and error. And with generous checkpoints, the game is never all that frustrating. One of my favorite secrets is in the fight with Jack Krauser. Probably the hardest boss in the game if you don't know his weakness. The knife. 10 or so swings from it, and he's dead.
Bit of advice, try using knives next time.
It's a nice detail. There's so much emphasis put on his knife, but it's the last thing you'd use in a fast-paced boss fight. Resident Evil 4 is also one of the few titles that do quick-time events right. They add a very real tension and surprise to the gameplay, especially in the Verdugo and U3 fights. But it's also fitting with Leon's character as a secret agent with Spider-Man's reaction time. So the gameplay kicks total ass, can hardly find a single thing to complain about. Although... after infiltrating the church, we find what we're looking for.
Don't come!
Oh, so I gotta escort this bitch. Just kidding, Ashley, you're pretty cool.
Don't worry, she's cool.
If there's one part of RE4 that most people criticize, it's, Resident Evil 4 is basically one long escort mission, and if I'm being real, Ashley's not that bad. Quite often, you can tell her to hide in the trash where she belongs.
How rude!
This makes her invulnerable as one errant shot, and it's... But Ashley's AI is smart. She ducks when you're aiming towards her, always follows right behind, never gets stuck on geometry or wanders off doing some dumb shit and gets killed. Really, Ashley just gives you a larger hitbox and a second health bar to manage. Most of the game, she isn't even with you as she gets captured like 5 times. Ashley!
Leon!
You see, they took the story and used it to inspire the gameplay, offering unique puzzles and gimmicks that keep things fresh. Even though Ashley isn't really equipped with ballistics, she's still useful. In fact, one section has you play as Ashley where you're mostly defenseless. It's terrifying. Shortly after her rescue, we run into Osmond Sadler, the master of this fine religious community. Now, maybe it's time for me to talk about the whole United States is bad thing. In other words, the plot. Resident Evil has always had a reputation for its unique writing.
The human race requires judgment.
You're going to judge us? You get all your ideas from comic book villains? It's too easy to make fun of these games and their horrible dialogue, and I think the writers recognize that. Instead of trying to sell us a serious narrative and potentially fail, RE4 embraces its silliness.
But I'm afraid it's Ashley we need. Not you, Mr. Kennedy.
If you don't need me, then get off my back, old man. What's that? The main villain is explaining his motivations? Well, I really don't give a damn. We could have had a story where Leon's character changes over time. He becomes a better man. Will he ever express his undying love for...
bitch in the red dress.
Is he gonna fall in love with Ashley? But screw all that. Resident Evil 4 will not have you questioning the morality of charity or contemplate the mysteries of life. This is a story told purely for entertainment. Whatever plot holes or inconsistencies I could point out don't really matter in the grand scheme because this game isn't trying to be KOTOR 2, Dark Souls, or Bioshock. Leon is the key to why the story works so well. He's not some edgy emo, a boulder-punching buff dude, a frightened scaredy cat. Leon defies the stereotypes of action horror protagonists. He straight up doesn't give a fuck right from the start. Throws a knife into Salazar's hand with pinpoint aim and just scoffs. As if he never doubted for a second that wouldn't hit. Leon is such a fucking Chad, he rejects Ashley's advances.
So, after seeing that to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
He's like, yeah, I could have sex with the president's daughter. I just don't wanna. A lot of protagonists have some kind of character arc, but Leon doesn't change at all by the end. He has one of the most likable personalities, never says or does anything stupid, a secret agent badass who always makes time to talk shit and crack a few jokes.
Just because you killed my small-time subordinate.
Sadler, you're small time.
The dude is proactive.
Ya voy, ya voy. Que ya voy, hombre. Que ya. Que ya voy.
Any of these faults. He's not a godlike being either and shows plenty of vulnerability and real human emotions. It's because he's so likable and cool that we want him and his friends to succeed. That's not to say the narrative is devoid of all depth. The plot is a fascinating product of its time.
Malheureusement, vous ne semblez pas avoir les fonds nécessaires. Laissez-moi faire.
As good as the protagonists they harass, our bad guys are all super cool too. Sadler, Mendez, and Krauser all have an intimidating presence. And then there's Salazar, who's this little shithead.
¿Cómo voy a recoger la ropa? ¿Cómo? Y con la otra la recogí con la cobija, y ahora la cobija estamos en la familia.
Yo te sugiero que extiendas la cobija arriba de la lavadora y eches toda la ropa y traigas una maleta. ¿Me entendiste?
¿Cómo voy a bajar todo?
Saca la colcha, ven.
Mira,
Saca la colcha, le extiendes en la lavadora y echas toda la ropa ahí de
toda
la lavadora. Sí, cabe, está bien grande. Bueno.
Pero después no puedo bajar.
No, ya está prendida. La misma colcha.
Merci de votre visite.
Game directors actually acknowledged the removal of QTEs. Their reasoning behind it is not as popular in today's games. I think it's because, ironically, no other game has done QuickTime events better than Resident Evil 4. So you can probably thank Call of Duty for ruining them. Luckily, in place of QTEs, the developers decided to add a fucking parry mechanic that is so awesome. Well done, lads. Your work here today has made the Chancellor a very happy man. This mechanic creates a whole new layer of gameplay, decision-making, player choice, and strategy. You trust your instincts like Heavy Hair tells you to, you might play more aggressively, getting up close and personal. However, if you're less confident, best to trust your trigger finger and save the parry for a last resort. Although you have to keep in mind some attacks can't be parried, like grabs, but you can use the knife to bail out of these grabs. Knives are so goddamn useful in this game. You can upgrade the knife, but there is a cost for repair, and durability isn't infinite.
¿Dónde dice $2?
Timing for parries gets
¿No
smaller
ves?
and harder difficulty.
5 pesos.
So you
Son de
feel like a
México.
Ah.
Esas almohadas.
Entonces es que así se ven los $2.
killed you in one hit. Some enemies will
Son 5
transform,
pesos
but you
en
can
México.
silence
No vale
them
mucho
and
eso,
stop
¿verdad?
it. Or if you stun an enemy, you can move in for a knife kill or a melee attack. You can parry chainsaws, throw weapons, crossbow bolts.
En la sala.
Janky's unimpactful knife of the original is long gone. In the original, a lot of times the strategy to conserve ammo was, okay, I shoot you in the head, I run up, I kick you, and then I just knife you a bunch. Rinse and repeat. A lot of smaller fights played out like this, and it wasn't terrible, but all these new systems in the remake make combat much more dynamic. You have far more options to conserve ammo. Like stealth? Hello? Did somebody say Metal Gear Solid? What's that? Leon is also a snake eater? One of the coolest examples of using stealth is that chamber with the red cultist. By sneaking through, you can almost trivialize this encounter and lower a chandelier to kill a bunch of the Ganados. Even that new enemy type, the cowboy brutes, can be snuck up on and stabbed. Hell, you can do this to the Garradors too. Not to mention the bolt thrower is a silent weapon. It doesn't alert other Ganados. It's a fantastic rework of the mine thrower. The addition of parries and stealth adds so much to the gameplay, it's unreal. Although not everything is perfect in Bingo Land. The game has some issues with AI and pathing. I noticed certain areas with doors could just straight up break the AI. And like a little kid with Game Shark, I used this knowledge to exploit certain areas, like the double Garrador room. I think it's because some doors act as loading zones, and if the AI crosses a certain threshold, their programming forces them to stop attacking and just slowly walk away awkwardly. Great for a hardcore playthrough, terrible for immersion. Like, look at this poor feller. He's trapped in limbo, waiting for the sweet release of death. These issues aren't massive and only happen occasionally. Aside from that, all the enemies have been given massive overhauls. And rather than compliment every single change, I'd say the only enemy that frustrated me was Salazar, because your windows of opportunity to attack him are so limited. Other than that, I think every single fight, every single location, and encounter in the game, it was fun. Even the more challenging sections. I died to Krauser like 10 times, still had a blast. Since you can now parry attacks and bob and weave through boards a lot easier, enemies are more accurate with ranged weapons to compensate. Some of them also have charging attacks with like pitchforks. One enemy can grab you while another attacks you. The Ganados are so expressive when they get shot or stabbed. The first time I shot a Ganado while he was on the stairs and he fell down them, it just blew my mind. It's these types of like technological upgrades that made the original so impressive to me when I was a kid. This is a game I shouldn't have played as a kid, probably. And of course, Leon's badass melee attacks return, as does his signature suplex. Ganados are also a bit smarter. They'll sometimes hold their weapons up to block your shots. Remember those little face-hugger bastards? Well, instead of doing nothing, now they cause Ganados to become enraged and charge at you super fast, so you really gotta take them down. Fighting the enemies in this game, it's just so much goddamn fun. As far as your arsenal of weapons goes, it's mostly the same. There are some new guns added through, like the deluxe edition, the Skull Shaker, Sentinel Pistol, They added an assault rifle, a new submachine gun, the primal knife, and heavy grenades. Extra unlocks like the man cannon and Chicago typewriter return, but the only things that don't are the Plagas removal laser and incendiary grenades. I was also bummed that you don't get free refills when upgrading ammo capacity. Big sad. Capcom have proven once again they are masters of innovation when it comes to combat and AI in games called Resident Evil 4. Unfortunately, this game does not take the same philosophy of the Dead Space remake. That being, let's just add things and basically cut nothing. There are quite a few areas that have been fun. It's questionable at best and disappointing at worst. I think they remade the most important locations. In some parts I can understand being removed because maybe they were too cartoony or jank. But others, like the laser room on the island, like that would have been so badass to see in the remake. Here's a list of other areas I could think of that didn't make the cut. The gondola ride in the village, the lava statue section, the village waterfall, river, and crates area, castle sewers, both ceiling trap areas. The guy on the minigun in the middle of the room, that ride on the massive pickup truck is gone. You no longer have a choice of fighting another El Gigante or the Chainsaw Ladies. And by far the most heartbreaking, the dumpster claw minigame. What's that? Oh yeah, they cut out the U3 boss fight entirely. Yeah, that whole section is just nowhere to be found. One of the most iconic and difficult fights is cut out for seemingly no reason other than to bait it in future DLC. There's something wrong with that, man. I guess there is a new boss fight to kind of make up for it, but it's another El Gigante that just throws rocks at you. But it seems like the game would have only been better if all of the areas were remade and new ones were added. And you know, changes to like the DK minecart section were pretty awesome. I was very thorough in gathering loot, treasures, and doing side quests, so a decent chunk of my time was spent backtracking. Whereas in the original, you spent less time backtracking because there were more locations. Games take roughly the same amount of time to complete, but you just feel like you're seeing more in the original. Speaking of cut content, Mercenaries just got added. It's a fucking blast. Even if there is one less character and one less location, there is no assignment ADA or separate ways, though I suppose it's alright since these weren't in the initial 2005 release, so I can give it a pass. The remake adds some new customization through charms and pages, giving you different bonuses like reduced repair costs. So you are encouraged to play and do well at the shooting range. And even if there weren't incentives, just hearing that song constantly is all the reason I need. I think the addition of a crafting system is very much welcome. Given that the game is a bit more stingy about items it gives you, the crafting system allows you to pick and choose things that you need more. Remember how in Village you would hunt different animals for upgrades with the Duke? They expanded on this concept in this remake with full-blown side quests. I mean, there are things like, hey, go and kill this super dog, or shoot all these blue medallions, fight this golden knight, but they were all loads of fun. Despite their simplicity, I did almost every single side quest because the rewards are damn well worth it. The new currency system is fantastic. Spinels are used for exclusive upgrades you can't buy with pesetas. So you learn to ration and choose things carefully. Treasures are also way cooler. Instead of waiting eons to find that one specific gem for that one specific item, it's been streamlined. Now you get a whole bunch of gems, and it's up to you to choose what shape and color you put into the treasure to maximize your returns. So customization, progression, and weapon upgrades are all fucking awesome and somehow more addicting than they were in the original. Want to learn something crazy? Did you know that Shinji Mikami wrote the entire script of Resident Evil 4 in 3 weeks? Man literally procrastinated his book report until the last possible moment, which makes it all the more impressive how he managed to write one of the most charming, hilarious, and awesome video game stories. RE4's narrative is nothing short of a miracle, and I never expected Capcom to perfectly recreate that magic. I say this to preface all my criticisms of the remake, because it's impressive how much they got right.
I am Osman Zach. Speaker.
07. That did not scare me.
My biggest problem with the story. All of them besides Krauser feel like.
Je suis étonné que ça m'a pas fait peur, hein. Honnêtement.
Was super intimidating because he just stared at you most of the time.
That was pretty smart though.
But now he's like a priest
07
giving us
07
sermons.
04.
His dialogue is neither cheesy nor campy or funny. It's just bland.
You know that.
Mendez didn't really need to be anything more than what he was, but he also wasn't much, so I suppose I can give this a pass. Now, I love Salazar's redesign. It is very disturbing and makes him appear
08.
more evil and menacing. This dude looks like he lives in his basement. He looks like he never gets sun. He could possibly be a fucking vampire. However, Capcom royally fucked up when writing this script because they decided to cut out every single radio transmission between Leon, Salazar, and Sadler. The bulk of their characterization and personality was through these radio transmissions. Hell, some of the most iconic lines were found in these moments.
Except my right hand to be spoken of you.
Your right hand comes off?
It should keep you busy.
Can't remember the name. A senior moment, perhaps.
It seems Capcom has gone the Halo Infinite route of storytelling by forcing the villains into the background for the majority of the game and having them essentially do nothing. Instead, they rely on flashbacks, visions, and shit-talking from megaphones to establish their personality. Remember when you entered the castle
¿Cómo
and
oyes
tried
con
to
eso
talk
y
to
acá?
Hunnigan, the
Ni idea,
Salazar
pero lo logras
Jackson
hacer.
line? Well, that was to make it clear that in transit, you were cut off from your allies.
Okay. Nope.
Do whatever you please. Die, you worm!
Salazar and Sadler were taught Leon and
Okay.
shadow places and enemies fighting with Max. It added build to certain encounters like the U3 and the doors in the
Perdón.
sewers. Sadler would always laugh at Leon's lame jokes instead of being pissed off.
No sé.
Ya tiraron a la
And he
basura.
never doubted that he would come
Pues todavía se pueden usar.
Sadler, you're small time.
No. Arrive in my cage of torment.
I could be wrong, but it also feels like they ditched the whole anti-American angle with the villains. Like they don't really discuss their motivations at all.
No longer will the United
Ay, qué jabón.
They can police the world.
¿Dónde te lo tienes, jabón?
¿No la traje cuando vine?
No, no está.
Por allá no está tampoco. No, ahí no vi.
No, aquí no está, lo voy por ella.
Mamá, que no está allá.
Entonces, ¿dónde está? Si aquí no está.
Ay, Dios mío, siempre.
¿Lo ocupo? No, ya lo dejaste. ¿Dónde está? ¿O aquí en la bolsa? Acá está. Veo. Está aquí adentro. Mira, hasta la dejaste la botella abierta. Mira. Antes no se tiró. Y le echaste las bolitas, ¿verdad?
Pues venían ya venían así, las puestas.
En la bolsa negra iban puestas y te las eché en la colcha.
Sí.
Pero es que no lo había sacado aquí afuera, por eso no la vi. Hasta que me fijé. ¿Dónde está el Michi? Para que no lo pueda. Digo, la puerta estaba abierta.
¿Cuál?
¿Abriste la puerta?
¿Cuál?
Esta, o la de... Ahorita la abriste o así estaba abierta.
La acabo de abrir.
Ah, entonces Micho no se fue para allá, porque está abierto enfrente. Entonces, ¿dónde está este?
¿Lo viste afuera? No. Oh. Oh God. Ah. ¿Qué? ¿Ah? Ay, mamá. Siempre se acuesta así. Oh my God.
Ya los dulces están preciosos y bajos. Yo dije, como de y el pez no, aquí trabaja mi vida ahorita. Pero si no te tomas el té no te vas a aliviar, ¿eh?
Ay, creo que se enfrió.
Ya qué hora. Es donde tienen que tomar caliente.
Holy shit. Okay. Okay. Trois personnes nécessaires pour rendre la clé.
Si te puedes desenvolver y quitarte tus pelos abajo.
Merde, je dois retourner voir le duc.
Attends. La clé, elle est à Cadra, là. Est-ce qu'on pourrait la clé? C'est pas la Cadra, elle est... Si c'est elle, ouais, si ça, non, c'est pas ça. On va voir le duc. On va mourir. Mauvais côté. Prépare-toi.
Alors, avez-vous appris quelque chose?
J'ai trouvé ça. Maintenant, dites-moi ce que je dois faire, comme promis.
Calmez-vous. Vous devez utiliser cette clé et récupérer tous les bocaux contenant votre petite rose.
Où est-ce qu'il se trouve?
Il y en a 4 au total. Vous en avez un, les autres nobles ont...
¿Qué? Ay, Dios mío. No, yo no mido 200 centímetros. Mais non.
Le reste. Noble. Mère Miranda est la femme froide et calculatrice qui règne sur ce village. 4 nobles sont sous ses ordres. La première, vous la connaissez, c'est Dame Dimitrescu.
Je la connaissais.
La deuxième vit au fin fond d'une vallée brumeuse. Son nom est Donna Beneviento. Elle fabrique des figurines.
C'est exactement... Hop, c'est là.
Aucun de ses camarades de jeu n'est jamais revenu de cette vieille bâtisse humide. Le troisième est Moreau, un être difforme qui vit dans le lac artificiel au-delà des moulins. On dit que ce ne serait pas le seul monstre à habiter ces eaux. Le quatrième et le plus dangereux, c'est Heisenberg. Il travaille dans son usine aux abords du village. Ce qu'il y fait... Disons que certaines zones de l'imagination humaine méritent de rester enfouies. Si vous tenez vraiment à sauver votre fille, vous devez d'abord assembler les 4 bocaux. Comme vous m'êtes sympathique, j'ai marqué tous ces lieux sur votre carte. Ce village recèle encore quelques trésors. Je suis sûr qu'ils vous seront tous d'une grande utilité. Pourquoi vous faites tout ça? Disons que j'ai à cœur d'offrir un service de qualité à mes clients. N'hésitez pas à revenir me voir. Jetez un coup d'œil, faites à votre... Heureusement, vous êtes là. Trouvez des ingrédients de qualité et apportez-les-moi. Continuez. Déçu, vraiment? Ça me paraît pourtant parfaitement honnête. J'étais sûr que vous achèteriez cela. Merci. Merci de votre visite.
Ah. Ok. Mhm. ¿Qué? No sé, se me olvidó taparlos.
Puis-je choisir quelque chose pour vous? Continuez. Je peux modifier toutes sortes d'armes les yeux fermés. Et je le fais pour une somme modique. Ah ah! Laissez-moi faire. Je vois. Autre chose? Ah oui, c'est normal que vous soyez intéressé par cela. Bonne journée.
Ok. Ugh.